I just want to talk on living with purpose and intention. Because God did not just create you randomly. Your life has meaning because you were created by Him and for Him and to serve Him. In Ephesians 2:10 it says, "For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." So the problem is a lot of people are kind of just drifting through life. Most people don't choose their life, they drift into it. And so without intention, without a purpose, without a calling, without a meaning, we naturally follow distractions like our phone, social media, YouTube, TV. We naturally follow into comfort and never pushing ourselves, never stepping outside our comfort zones. This culture tells us is normal and good, and other people's expectations, temporary desires. And you see, this is how I was for most of my life. I was just drifting, coasting through life and caring what people thought about me, just living for distraction, living in comfort. This is how I was. I was drifting through life. And so the enemy doesn't always need to destroy your purpose. Sometimes he just needs to distract you from it. And so you were created for a purpose. God has put every single individual on this earth for a reason. And your life is not an accident at all. You were created for a purpose on this earth. And God has created you with unique gifts. Every single person. This is why everyone's different. This is why God didn't make people like robots. This is why God made everybody who they are in the image of God. And He's created you with unique gifts. Everybody has different skills. He's created you with different experiences, different life experiences. He's created you with different abilities, different passions, different opportunities. And so your purpose is not something that you have to create. Your purpose is something you discover and you find as you walk with God. For me, like growing up, I always wanted to be an architect as a kid. Because I grew up in the mountains, and my brother and I would always build forts, and we would always just make stuff out of trees, and I loved building, I loved creating. And I thought I was going to be an architect my whole life. That was like my dream as a kid. High school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was a little bit lost. But then now I have found my purpose, and through growing my relationship with God, as I have grown in my relationship with Jesus, I have found my purpose. In Jeremiah 1:5 it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." So God already knows us. He knows our path. He knows what we're meant to be on this life for, to serve and to honor Him. And each person is in different ways, which is so crazy, it's so cool. But purpose starts with knowing God. And your first calling is not a career. And so before you are called to a job, a mission, a role, a platform, you're called to know God. You're called to have a relationship with Him. You're called to love God. You're called to follow Jesus. And you're called to become more like Christ. And purpose flows from relationship with God. Purpose flows from this. And so your first calling is to know God and to fully actually develop a relationship with Him. And like for me, I grew up a Christian and grew up going to church. Parents are very religious, but my faith kind of my whole life was my parents' faith, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't my own. But once I truly found God and truly found Jesus, then I became more like Christ. I became more loving, and I found my purpose. I found once my relationship with God grew. So the world's definition of purpose, the world says, find your passion, build your empire, become successful, make a name for yourself. And so while if that stuff happens, it's not bad, or, those things aren't necessarily bad. Jesus says, whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. And so true purpose is found through surrender to God. And the first thing is stewarding your time. And your time reveals your priorities. Your time reveals your habits and what you love and all these different things. And so everyone receives the same 24 hours. But the question is, what are you investing your time into? Are you spending more time scrolling than you are praying? Are you spending time more consuming than you are creating? Are you entertaining yourself rather than growing yourself? You see, time is one of our biggest assets. Time is something on this earth that God has given to us. And it's one of our most greatest tools. Everything in life is God created for good. But man, the world created it for evil. So everything that God created good can also be turned to evil. Same with our time. God created our time for good, but we can turn our time evil. We can turn our time to just not getting stuff done. And so I'm not saying to fully, you can never watch a movie again. You can never watch YouTube. You can never scroll on Instagram. But if you're spending 8 hours on YouTube, you're watching a movie every day, you're scrolling every part of your free time in the day, that's when you should ask yourself, where is my time? Because like a movie once, twice a week, of course, I do that. A YouTube video, if you want to learn something. And for me, I don't scroll. I've stopped scrolling. Like filling those empty moments with God, praying, thanking Him, or just being present, being still. Just, when's the last time you sat just like on a bench and just thought and just stared out into the distance for 10, 15, 20 minutes? Or in the doctor's office, when's the last time you didn't pull out your phone, but you just sat there and were present? You see, your time is your biggest asset, one of your biggest assets, and your time reveals your priorities. And so small faithfulness creates great purpose. Purpose is built through daily decisions. So people often wait for, the big opportunity, or people wait for the vision from God, or if I see 3 blue cars, then I'm going to do this from God. Or they wait for the perfect moment, the clear calling from God. But God cares about faithfulness today. He wants you to start today. And purpose is built through showing up, developing discipline, serving others, being faithful in small things. And so purpose is built through our daily decisions. And yes, your big opportunity might come. Your perfect moment might come. The clear calling from God on your life may come. But people wait too long for that. But God cares about your faithfulness to Him and your purpose starting after you watch this video today. Take action. Start today. And stop chasing comfort. Comfort can slowly steal away your calling from God. Comfort says, stay where you are. Don't take risks. Choose what feels easy. And for me, I'm a big believer in this, is doing hard things and choosing to do the harder thing most of the time. Like for me, I climb mountains and I have to wake up 2, 3, 4 a.m. Sometimes I've woken up at midnight. I've had 18-hour days on my feet hiking mountains, And so I'm a big believer in doing hard things and not being comfortable all the time, and choosing discomfort, chasing discomfort, because it's hard, it's uncomfortable. That's the point. And I'm not saying you can never be comfortable. Kind of with all these things is there's a limit to it. So I'm not saying you have to fully get rid of comfort. Like comfort, you need comfort in your life. But choosing to just not stay where you are. And because comfort says don't take risks, choose what feels easy, choose what feels pleasurable, choose what feels good, stay where you are. But true growth requires sacrifice. It requires discipline, obedience, trust. Jesus didn't call us to the easiest life. He said that the narrow road that we walk down will be hard, but He called us to the most meaningful life. And so intentional living requires action. You become who you practice becoming. Your habits shape your character, your thoughts, your desires, your future. And your small choices repeated over time, every day, create the direction of your life. And so I want you to ask yourself, are my daily habits moving me closer to Christ? Are they moving me closer to what God has called me to? Are they moving me closer to his purpose and his calling and why I'm here on this earth? Or are they not? Are they distracting me? You see, where are your daily habits? Where are they taking you into this life? And so a life fully surrendered to God. The goal is not a bigger life. The goal is not to have the mansion, the nice cars. And if you get to that and if you enjoy that, good. But the goal is a faithful life. A successful life according to God is a heart surrendered to Christ. A body stewarded well. Time used wisely. People in relationships loved deeply. Purposely serving others. Because you can have the big house, you can have the big car, you can have all the money in the world. But when you don't have a heart to Christ, maybe you're not in the best shape, you don't have a good body. Maybe you spend your time on bad things. Maybe you don't have people you love in your life and you're not serving. Then what's the point? You can have all these worldly things, but if you don't have a successful life according to God, there's no point to it. And so another question I want you to ask yourself is, if you lost everything today, would you still follow the Lord? Because this is a question I heard not too long ago, and something that I wrestled with a lot is I'm very fortunate to be where I am in life with my family and just everything. I'm very grateful. I'm very fortunate. But if I were to lose everything today, if my whole family died, if my house burned up, and I was left with nothing but myself, would I still follow God? So I want you to ask yourself that. Would you truly follow God if you lost everything? And that's a life fully surrendered to Christ. Is being able to be okay with that. And so your purpose challenge this week is start living intentionally. Spend the first moments of your day with God. Start your day in prayer and scripture, being with God before you start it with the world. Identify one distraction to remove in your life. Write down your priorities, what are your goals? Do one thing that serves someone else this week. It could be small. For me, I just love cleaning up for my parents. Because they work so hard for me, I can just do small things that serve them. Maybe this is something at your church, something bigger. And ask God where he wants you to grow. Find where he's calling you. Find what you're good at. And once you find what you're good at, work hard at that to serve God in that. And also, I want you to reflect, maybe answer these in the comments below, or where have I been drifting from God? What has been taking my attention away from God? And what is one step of obedience that I can take? Maybe you write these down, answer these, pray these to God, but ask yourself these questions. So walk with purpose. You were not created to simply, do whatever you do. You were created to work for God. You were created to work hard for God. You were not created to live an unfulfilling life. You were created for something far greater. So I thank you for watching this video, and I pray for you guys, and just God bless you guys. And just remember that you have a purpose on this earth. And so walk with that purpose.